I think what you came up with is actually a really good summary. The command of English language. The feel-good factor is very, very important. And again, the feel-good factor is very different. That the way they make you feel good is actually by making Islam relatable. And the way you make something relatable and relevant is through contextualization. Khan, for example, has this talent for taking like an ayah of Quran, where he will take something and then he will contextualize it through examples and through explanation and through connection and all this kind of stuff, to the point where that one ayah that you just saw as like just a generic thing, have a whole new appreciation, like very important for every speaker to do. I'm really happy to hear like the intentions that you have and the way that you're thinking. The great thing is, inshallah, as you're sincere, inshallah, you're going to get rewarded. Amazing. What I would say is use that equation that I've just said there as fuel for yourself. What's the equation? The equation is that I have a great intention, inshallah, which I will get rewarded for if I take action. The more action I take, the more I will get rewarded. The less action I take, the less I will get rewarded. Then what you do after that will dictate that reward. Keep that in mind, because one of the things that's going to happen, you're going to have that start-stop procrastination, and you need to break through that. I always analyze people's communications and stuff, and I think your communication is excellent. You are to go and do this stuff, what you're talking about. Like, you are primed to do it, and inshallah the program will enhance. Like, sometimes you'll hit a situation where you want to leave that person better and you want to help them. There's nothing you can do. I was driving and I saw this lady who was basically running for the bus, pouring, and she was going that way. Older lady, she's running for the bus, and I'm like feeling really bad for her. And I'm turning the car and I'm going that way. I don't know, she made it, right? There's nothing I can do to help her. I wish that I could do something to help her there. So when it comes to any speech you're ever going to give, right, one of the things I would say is I always tell people to get very clear. Like, for example, imagine you came to me and you said, okay, bro, I want you to come on the show. I want you to do this. What I would say to you, bro, is I would say, okay, tell me this. Tell me about your audience. So I would learn about the audience so I can contextualize and understand who they are. I would say to you, the main important question I ask is, after I finish speaking, how do you want the audience to think, feel, and act differently after I've spoken? After I finish speaking, what do you want them to think? Okay, I want them to think that Allah is their only option. I want them to think Islam is the greatest thing out there. I want Okay, what do you want them to feel? I want them to feel motivated. I want them to feel closer to Allah. I want them to feel this. I want them to feel, okay, what about action? Okay, I want them to take this action. I want them to do this. I want them to start to get clear on that, which is objective-based thinking of what you actually want them to go through. Then it's just about plotting what I would say different stories. If you're listening to what I'm saying, bro, most of the time I'm just sharing experiences and stories of things. I could have just said to you a minute ago, I could have just said, bro, what you said about making dua, like, this is bang on. We should make dua. That example of the woman running in the rain and all this kind of stuff, that is now a story. Then I could even go like, what are the stories that will help me to make them think? Other stories that will help them to act like that. There's actually a very basic structure that stories follow, which is 3-stage: setup, conflict, and resolution. Is you need to make sure that you set the scene a little bit, and when you set the scene, you want to kind of paint the picture a little bit. That's why I said to you, she was running and it was raining, and like, you want to paint the scene. Then there's that conflict, in that problem that's kind of come, like there's a desire, or there's kind of something they're trying to get away from or something. You need to kind of start picking the right type of stories that basically will move your person from that to that to that. Define what you want, choose the stories that will kind of go there, and then get good at telling those. But to keep it very simple, like I said, get very, very clear on who they are and on how you want them to think, feel, and act differently. Other tips are, you can, like, what I would always advise people, especially with media, TV appearances, we would always practice the first 30 to 60 seconds. The hardest part is usually the start. I would perfect the first 30 seconds, because most human beings, they're going to judge you on that first 30 seconds. They're going to come to their impressions from that. And then after that, it just kind of like, carries on what they saw. Grab their attention, take them on that journey, and, just like go all out, man.